Xi Jinping tightens his grip on power as China's Communist Party elevates his status. China's Communist Party has amended the constitution endorsing Xi Jinping's core leadership. The week-long Communist Party Congress concluded Saturday with the ushering in of a new central committee, the party's 200-member central leadership, which will in turn select a new slate of top leaders on Sunday. That's today, and President Xi Jinping is now all but certain to be unveiled as General Secretary for an unprecedented third term.
百年成就无比辉煌，百年大党风华正茂，我们完全有信心、有能力，在新时代新征程创造令人刮目相看的新的更大奇迹。
China's Grand Communist Party Congress coming to an end after passing in approval for an amendment to the party's constitution that could see 69-year-old Xi Jinping retain the top spot as party's general secretary. A third five-year term as party leader will break an unofficial two-term limit that was instituted to try to prevent the excesses of Mao's one-person rule, notably the tumultuous 1966-76 Cultural Revolution under which Xi suffered as a youth. The Congress also elected a new central committee of 205 members to govern the party for the next 5 years. Among those dropped, China's number 2 Premier Li Keqiang, considered a chief proponent of economic reforms. 2,000 delegates to the party Congress, seen largely as rubber stamps, wearing blue surgical masks under China's strict zero-COVID policy, met at what is being pegged as a historic event. Former Chinese President Hu Jintao, sitting next to Xi and seen briefly speaking to him, was abruptly helped off the stage. The only exception to what was meant to be a perfectly choreographed event, no reason was given. The all-powerful 7-member standing committee is set to be unveiled on Sunday, even as Xi Jinping is set to retain the top spot. Foreign media was not allowed for the crucial voting, even as the amendment details have not been made public yet. Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
Well, to talk more about China, we're now joined by Zunfei Zhao, a reporter CGTN, who joins us from Beijing, and we are also joined by Maha. Zunfei Zhao, first to you, if you could tell us what is expected today, what is going to be happening?
Well, I'm now outside of the Great Hall of the People, and currently what is underway is the first plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee. The 20th CPC Central Committee is the newly elected Central Committee, and this could be the day one of their tenure. And the Central Committee was elected by the 20th CPC National Congress, which was convened yesterday. And as you mentioned in the story, more than 2,000 party delegates elected from all around the country, from more than 96 million party members. And then this kind of group of more than 2,000 delegates elected the new Central Committee, which will be serving the country as party in the next 5 years.
That's right, and Xi Jinping has essentially, now it's what's being talked about is there's a greater concentration of power after this Congress taking place. Also, a lot of, some of the leaders have been moved out and new leaders, loyalists have been brought in.
Well, what is currently undergoing is the election process of the first plenary session. This is usually what the first plenary session of each CPC Central Committee tenure. And the election goes to many different layers. First, we'll elect the political bureau of the Central Committee, and then the standing committee of the political bureau, and then the general secretary. So we won't be able to know the final result until around 4 GMT. 4 GMT.
All right. Well, Maha, watching what's happening in China, all around the world is watching very, very closely. And what would it mean for India now with Xi Jinping all set for that unprecedented third term and a more powerful Xi Jinping at that?
Exactly, Gargi. The entire world is closely watching the developments in China, and this has been a week-long Congress, and all eyes have been closely tracking this event in China, especially because Xi Jinping, as opposed to presidents, will assume the position of the General Secretary of the party for the third term. This in itself is unprecedented, and this will pave the way for him to become the president again. We understand in March of next year is when the legislature is to give a go-ahead for that. And once he's elected as the party chief again, that is a mere formality. He becomes president again. As it is, there has been an amendment to that in 2018, which will allow for a term more than 2 times for a president. So with that, the world believes that Xi Jinping will become, in some sense, a ruler for life, in the sense that till he is there, he is going to hold control of China and also of the all-powerful Chinese Communist Party, and that he will become, it'll become a one-man show. Many believe that this could be leading up to dictatorship in China, and that will definitely have ramifications for the entire world. The manner in which China engages, say for instance, with its neighbors like India, we already have an ongoing friction in eastern Ladakh, which is yet to be resolved completely. There is still Depsang, Demchok, where the friction is not over, where there has been no disengagement. And many had, in fact, earlier believed that this was also a way of the power that Xi Jinping has, in a sense, trying to showcase that in this friction in eastern Ladakh that started way back in 2020. So it's almost been over 2 years, Gargi, and that friction is not yet over. Other ramifications will also include how China engages further with the US. We have seen them taking the US head-on over issues like trade. And if that continue to take place, then of course the issue of supply chains that have been witnessed over the last 2 years, India has in fact offered at a couple of points, Gargi, to step in, have more manufacturing. How India further takes that forward to counter China, that again is a very important aspect, and that again will be keenly watched as to what in the future Xi Jinping says. And thirdly, the Indo-Pacific region, which again becomes very important for all these reasons.
Right.
Supply chains, the fact that there have been angst against the Chinese over a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific.
Right. Maha, also, it's been picture perfect so far, though we did see, what happened to Hu Jintao yesterday, and there's a lot of questions over that. But Maha, I know you also have some questions for Zunfai Zhao. Go ahead.
Zunfai, I want to understand from you, how are the people in China and the Communist Party itself viewing these developments? Because as we are pointing out, a third term for a general secretary is unprecedented, isn't it?
Right. Zunfai, could you hear
Sorry,
that?
is that a question addressing to me? I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again? I didn't hear that clearly. Yes.
Zunfai, my question was, how are the people in China and specifically even the party viewing these developments? Because the third term as a general secretary is unprecedented, isn't it?
Well, the country has highly anticipated of the new leadership at this moment, because given the past week, the report, especially a lot of people put analysis on the report submitted by the 19th CPC Central Committee, and the report was very comprehensive. It really covers all levels of ground, and maybe really related to every single Chinese. So it covers innovation, it covers rural revitalization, it covers technology, economy, and all sorts of that. So a lot of people are really highly anticipated how the party is governing the nation in its future path, because the report is so comprehensive. A lot of the strategic ideas are so detailed, and people are very looking forward to the detailed practices of such guidelines.
Do we have any specific idea on how issues like Taiwan, Hong Kong, or even engagement with the neighboring countries like India will be dealt with as Xi Jinping assumes the office of the General Secretary once again of the party, and that will pave the way for him to remain president?
Well, there are two layers of questions from you proposed. One of them is the Hong Kong, Macau, as well as Taiwan. They're all kind of China's internal affairs. According to the report really elaborated China's strategies, China's position on its internal affairs. So China vows to complete its complete reunification process, and any foreign interference and internal separatism is not acceptable. Speaking of foreign relationship, I mean, China has also standing on the position of a peaceful development. Of course, China have very close relationship with India, given the fact that China and India are neighbors and that both of the countries are very important major economies of the world. So China believes that the cooperation between the two sides is very crucial for the sake of the benefit of the entire world.
Also coming to the fact of the internal politics within the Communist Party as well, help us understand who replaces Li Keqiang now, since he is not part of the top branch of the party, and does that mean he won't be the Prime Minister as well?
I can hear you clearly, but I guess you're asking about the leadership shuffle. So at this moment, all of the procedures are undergone through the party level. So the 20th National Party Congress is a reshuffle of the leaders within the Communist Party of China. Regarding to the leadership of China, of the country, we have to wait until next spring when the two sessions convene.
Gargi, with that, it's back to you.
Right. Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you for joining us all the way from Beijing, Zhenfei Shao.